Welcome back. In a significant development, officials at the Ranthambore National Park and Tiger Reserve have confirmed that 10 of the 25 tigers allegedly missing have been traced. However, the remaining 14 tigers continue to be off the radar. 14 tigers went missing in just 4 months between May and September. This was the first time that such a large number of tigers went missing. In 2022, 13 tigers were reported to be missing from Ranthambore National Park. But that was over a span of 3 years. The alarming number of missing cats have triggered panic in Rajasthan, with the chief wildlife warden constituting a 3-member committee to locate the missing big cats. The committee will also look into the concerns of negligence, including the concerns over these tigers not being recorded by the camera traps, which has been also spoken about the chief wildlife warden of Rajasthan. But remember, it was just days before this that a tiger, T86, was brutally stoned to death. Officials speak of axes and stones being used. There are also reports of even explosive substances being used. The tiger was killed, but this happened after he mauled his shepherd to death. Officials, though, claim that the shepherd was inside the wildlife sanctuary. T86, remember, is a well-known tiger chirico. But what does all of this mean? I'm being joined at this point by Simrat Sandhu, who's a former member of Rajasthan State Wildlife Board, as well as Dharmender Khandal, who's a conservation biologist. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. First, let me just come to you, Ms. Simrat Sandhu. What do you make out of these missing tigers? It's not the first time, but these are massive numbers, the largest ever. When we talk about just 1 year or little over 1 year, Ms. Simrat Sandhu, what do you make out of this?
Sneha, the question right now, like what you're pointing out, like there has been this report all over that there are tigers which are missing. For a long time, we have been raising this issue that tigers are missing and there's no record of the tigers. But right now, the biggest problem that has, like arisen in Ranthambore, for which, that will explain how these tigers are missing and what is happening, that will give you an indication. On 3rd of November, a man was killed in the tiger reserve. Sorry, on 2nd of November. On 2nd of November, there was a man. Unfortunately, he lost his life.
Okay.
And a tiger T86 attacked him. ये जो attack हुआ, ये forest के अंदर हुआ while he was grazing his cattle. उसके बाद ये सूचना आई कि this man has been killed. And after some time, this was in around range 5 and range 4, that is Kundhera range. उसके बगल में there is a village by the name of Ulyana. उलियाना वालों ने उसकी बॉडी को उठाया और अपने सामने सड़क के ऊपर रख के रास्ता रोक लिया. फॉरेस्ट वाले they could not enter to that place where the killing had taken place. खबर आने लग गई, रात तक हमारे भी बड़े इन्फॉर्मर्स हैं, हमारे पास ये खबर आने लग गई कि टाइगर को मार दिया गया है. एंड पूरी सेकंड को we could do nothing. थर्ड को ड्रोन के अंदर पता लगा कि टाइगर की वहां बॉडी पड़ी हुई थी इन zone 5. This is perhaps the first time in history of India a tiger was blasted with dynamite. उसको पत्थरों से मारा गया, उसको धारदार हथियारों से मारा गया. इतना गुस्सा लोगों ने अपना दिखाया कि जब वो मर गया, उसके मुंह को उन्होंने पत्थर से कुचला, कई लोग कहते हैं ट्रैक्टर से कुचला. God knows what they did. And बहुत मुश्किल से वहां से बॉडी को उठाया गया. Now the question that arises, that everybody knows the temperament of the tiger, that is the predator, that is the apex predator. It is going to attack if you enter its territory. ये इसकी nature में है. We cannot tame the tigers. Unfortunately, ये बार बार मैन एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होता है, पर जो इस बार जो लोगों ने अपना गुस्सा दिखाया, वी आर ऑल्सो वेरी सैड एट द लॉस ऑफ द ह्यूमन लाइफ, बट द वे द टाइगर हैज बीन किल्ड बाय द पीपल, दैट इज वेरी शॉकिंग. इट इज एक्चुअली अलार्मिंग. अगर इस तरह यहाँ पे लोग टाइगर पे अटैक करते रहे तो वहां पे जो बाकी 75-80 टाइगर जितने भी हैं, सो यू कैन वेल इमेजिन कि उनकी सेफ्टी कितनी है. ये उलियाना गांव, आई वुड लाइक टू पुट इट ऑन रिकॉर्ड, ये वही गांव है जहां पे 2013 में सुंदरी को मारा गया था, जिसका नंबर T17 था, जिसको गायब कर दिया, जिसकी बॉडी कभी फॉरेस्ट वालों को मिली ही नहीं. और इस टाइगर को भी बहुत जल्दी से इसको खुर्द-बुर्द करने की कोशिश करी जा रही थी, बट फॉर्चुनेटली इसकी बॉडी मिल गई. एंड वी ऑल नो व्हाट ऑल हैपेंड विद द टाइगर. जिन्होंने इसकी बॉडी को देखा, दे वर शॉक्ड टू सी द बॉडी ऑफ द टाइगर. सो राइट नाउ आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू ब्रिंग फॉरवर्ड दिस पॉइंट कि ये जो गांव है उलियाना, nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. ये यहाँ पे पूरी दीवार नहीं बनने देते, ये वहां पर चौकी नहीं बनने देते. इसमें पॉलिटिकल इनको पेट्रनेज भी मिल जाती है. अपने यू ऑल नो कि वन विकास समितियां बनी हुई हैं. वन विकास समितियां फिर किस चीज के लिए हैं?
राइट राइट. मिस्टर धर्मेंद्र खंडाल, so is it essentially that there's a huge link between what's happened with the tiger that was lynched to the missing tigers? Are these two separate cases? Are they extremely linked? How are you looking at this?
I think the missing tiger story or the border is something misleading. There are miscommunication between the officials. There's the conspiracy or the kind of conflict between the officials. That's why hastily they ordered for the investigation of 25 missing tigers, and next day they reduced the number 15 tigers. This year the monsoon was delayed, so prolonged monsoon, so trekking actually was delayed. So now the trekking actually started, and they found many missing or many lost tigers already. And second, Madam Sandhu said that the conflict is growing. Definitely, many tigers recently found poisoned by the villagers. T114, T57, the cub of T114 also, they found poison. So these kind of conflicts, nobody can deny. These are happening in Ranthambore. And there are two reasons of this. The cattle compensation program is totally failed in Ranthambore. The community is angry with the department because the number of tiger raised, and they need to belong or engage community in the process of conservation. These are the reasons that the community is showing such kind of anger against the wildlife. If we want support from the community, we have to take them in the favor of wildlife.
Okay. Okay, let me just quickly go back to Ms. Simrat Sandhu. Ms. Simrat Sandhu, you know, there's another thing. The missing big cats or the missing tigers, the missing stripes is a big concern because there's also camera traps. And there are no records of these missing tigers in the camera traps. So how is that possible?
There is a camera, I mean, which is worth crores of rupees. Uske upar laga hua hai, and that camera has been lying defunct since maybe February, January, March, we don't know. अगर आपने इतना पैसा लगा के अगर कैमरास लगाए हैं, एंड दैट वाज बेसिकली टू मॉनिटर, अब उसको जानबूझ के काट दिया जाता है, किसकी पेटर्नेज है नहीं है, वी डोंट नो, बट दिस ऑल नीड्स टू बी लुक्ड एट, एंड इट्स हाई टाइम that we look at the safety of the tigers. इसका मतलब हमारे टाइगर सेफ नहीं है, और ये वही जगह है, ये वही पॉइंट है जहां से 95, 96 गायब हैं. अगर आप मिसिंग टाइगर्स की बात करते हो, ये वही जगह है जो 2 टाइगर्स इसी जोन से यहीं से गायब हैं, जिनके नंबर 95 और 96 हैं.
Right. Mr. Dharmender Khandal, there's also worrying reports, but I understand you know about this firsthand as well, so I think I have to ask you this. The tiger that has been killed, it was not just stones and axe. There are also reports that there were some cracker-like substances that were used. Do you have any first-hand information on how this was done? And can you also corroborate what we just heard from the other panelists, that the shepherd who was mauled to death by the tiger was inside the wildlife park, the Ranthambore National Park?
Actually, the fringes of the park comes under the actually buffer. They recently, the 2006, they converted into the critical tiger habitat. Now it is a nobody can go in the park, but definitely people still use the area as a grazing land for their cattle or livestock. This man definitely enter in the park. Tiger attack happened 50 or 100-meter inside the tiger reserve. Then they drag the animal outside and put it in the field. But again, I'm saying that they are entering 1 or more than 1 kilometer inside the tiger reserve every day. Not only one person, but some 100 or 1,000 people enter every day. But they used to have their rights earlier. Now the rights is taken without their consent. This is also a kind of problem. We have to take their permission or kind of consultation before take their rights to make the area as a critical tiger habitat. This is the kind of earlier mishappening because of the forest department. But again, I'm trying to say that every year, at least 8 to 9 tigers are missing in Ranthambore. Some of them due to the territorial fights, and some of them due to the poisoning by the villagers. Every year, almost 500 to 600 cattle or livestock or small ruminants like sheep and goat killed by tigers or leopards. And they have to get the compensation. But forest department made this process very complicated, and they are not getting money timely. This is the problem. And the monitoring is also lethargic, and they are the cameras, they have 2 types of camera traps and the very high tower cameras. Those are, they used to say that the eye in the sky, those cameras are Chinese cameras, so they are not getting the small equipments. Most of them are like not working. Out of 12, 11 of them are not working. I heard this thing, but definitely there are many.
Okay, Mr. Dharmendra Khandal, one last question, and because you're also a conservation biologist, there is also, while we all spoke about the human-animal conflict, about what happened, about the missing tigers, there's also another angle, and that is possibly about the density of these big cats in these national parks or wildlife sanctuaries. For example, if I'm correct, Ranthambore has a capacity of 40, but they officially at least have 75 tigers. How much of this is also a big cause of concern, and is India looking at addressing this?
Yeah, the carrying capacity of Ranthambore is around 55 to 60, I think, or maybe more. But once that number reached around 80 tigers in Ranthambore, but the 50% of Ranthambore's tiger reserve is called Kaila Devi, is still dominated by human population. There are around 20,000 human lived inside the tiger reserve. There are many, many temples, religious sites in the Ranthambore. There are 126 temples inside Ranthambore. And every day, lakhs of hundreds, thousands of people visit these pilgrimages area. So we have to reduce all these human activities if we want to improve these tigers' habitat. So these are the definitely big problem. And if you see Ranthambore's monitoring, they monitor tigers inside the Ranthambore, but the periphery of the tiger reserve is very hard boundary. One side, the high density of human beings, and inside the high density of tiger. And tigers will move outside, but recently Rajasthan Forest Department thankfully developed 4 new tiger reserves. One is called Bundi then
Right.
Mukundra, then Dholpur, Karoli Tiger Reserve, and recently they are thinking
Okay.
about Kumbhalgarh also. So they shifted 20 tigers from Ranthambore in the last many years, but there are few more tigers they can shift to other areas.
Right. Right. Thank you very much, Dharmender Khandal, for joining us. And thank you, Simrat Sandhu, for joining us. Huge concerns here. There are the missing tigers of Ranthambore, and there's just another unfortunate, ugly lynching of a tiger.